Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
KHJ Los Angeles.
Portions of the day's programming are reproduced by means of electrical transcriptions or tape recordings.
More reliable than Frank Gore's word. You're listening to 87 Sports Fans live at latenightsportsradio.com.
Wow, it goes from we're not going to talk about football to in your intro.
Well, you know, I'm sorry. I mean, and again, folks, hi, it's Keith Grieve and Steve Taylor from 87sportsfans.com.
Hi, folks, my microphone works this week.
Yay! Oh, wait, I don't need to do that. I have... I forget about the sound effects that even I queued up myself.
See, I learned a lesson, though. Instead of using a $250 tablet, I should use my $800 phone, and then things work.
It's funny how how things tend to, be reliable.
Oh, I know, Keith.
when they're that expensive. So,
yeah.
Hello, folks. This is 87 Sports Fans Live. The phone number to call in, is, should you ever want to break the monotony, is 585-633-7487, 585-633-7487. We're going to we've started a new trend on this show, whether we know it or not, and that is when we're on the air, we just want to talk about what's going on hot and heavy right now. So we may go through the scoreboard and just kind of talk about the games that are going on, just kind of read off the hot headlines and chat about that. But the goal of this show is to talk about sports as they happen.
Yes.
On a Monday night.
We have proven time and again, preparation weakens what we've built.
And at the top of the hour, Jim Sarantias from thefantasygreek.com will be joining us for the NFL Hour, which I still say is the best hour of NFL talk on the internets. I don't think anybody will fault me with that one. So, without further ado, and again, without jumping topics here, the little Frank Gore comment. I really have a problem with a grown man crying over $1 million decision like that. But anyway, let's jump to the NBA. See what I did right there?
I knew you were going to say something, so I just let it go.
All right.
We'll wait till the last hour.
Well, let's bounce around the NBA. Atlanta put up 130 points tonight against Sacramento.
But what was the last part of your statement?
Against Sacramento.
There you go.
But it's the George Karl Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, but I mean, he's been there for like 5 minutes. That's not enough time to fix the blaring issues they have there.
I realize they're on their third coach this season, but how did that team get 21-41? I want to think that I remember them being off to a pretty decent start in November. I don't know, and I look up and they're miserable. And again, I know that George Karl is coach number 3 this year, and I know the Hawks are pretty freaking good this year. In this game,
what are they, Bill?
What?
What are they, Bill?
What are they, Bill?
Bill Walton. What are they?
Oh, pretty. They're pretty good.
Thank you. I haven't heard that in a long time.
That's an obscure reference to a Bill Walton call of a Michael Jordan game after he came back from baseball. You know, when you take 2 years off, and I'm paraphrasing here, when you take 2 years off and you can come back to the top of the game, you're pretty good. Yeah, thank you, Bill Walton, for telling us Michael Jordan was pretty good. Thanks, appreciate it. Anywho, the Atlanta Hawks, 6 players in double figures, led by DeMar Carroll and Kyle Korver, pouring in 20 points apiece. Korver channeling his inner Steve Taylor with 6 of 8 from behind the arc. 18 points apiece for Al Horford and Jeff Teague, 13 for Paul Millsap, 12 for Dennis Schroeder. That's not how you say that, but that's how I'm saying it. For the Kings, Rudy Gay with 23 points, 15 for Ray McCallum. That's right, the Ray McCallum. 12 points for DeMarcus Cousins and Ben McLemore, not the rapper McLemore. And 10 points for Nick Stauskas off the bench.
Nick Stauskas.
So, and DeMarcus Cousins got a technical in this.
Of course he did.
So, well, what's your take on Cousins? If you're starting the franchise, like say Sacramento decides to just blow it up, and I'm not saying that they will, and I'm not saying this would happen. If you were a opposing GM, would you want DeMarcus Cousins as your big man if you're building a team? He really is the proverbial mixed bag.
He is. I mean, it depends. Will he continue to do what he did tonight by getting 14 boards? But will he find a way to improve his offensive skills? I mean, free throws, once again, Keith, you know how I am. He was 6 for 6.
What are you talking about? I'm 6 for 6.
From free throw land.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Right. But
so to me, that to me automatically, I think his regular game needs some work, but he's got things that are improving.
Right. He seems to something about his psychological makeup. You know, he was going off about the coaching change, and there was rumors that his camp didn't want George Karl, and he denied it and whatever. And somewhere in the middle is probably where the truth is.
See, when has it gotten to the point where now, whenever we talk about coaching changes, it's always what the players' camps think? Has it really gotten to that point to where the coach is obscure and it doesn't matter, especially in the NBA? I mean, the coach still makes a big difference in NFL. I mean, you can say what you want about the current state of the Major League Baseball, but in the NBA, it feels like to me the coach is not important. It's almost like just a body in a suit sitting on the sideline, but the players are running the league. Pretty much the inmates are running the asylum.
Well, it depends. It really does depend, I think, because if it's like a franchise like the Lakers and Kobe Bryant, then you most definitely have to find a coach that's going to use him in the right way, or that he's going to get along with. I don't know if DeMarcus Cousins is that guy for Sacramento. They've got nothing to hang their hat on. He's had decent seasons. He's had a player efficiency rating of over 20 points the last, over 20 rather, the last 4 seasons. That's not nothing, but the Kings haven't won anything. They haven't been remotely respectable. Coaching carousels.
The coaching carousel, they haven't had consistent talent, and then they haven't had. I mean, it's really boils down to the coaching carousel. Nowadays in the league, if you are going to have a coach that's going to make an impact, you need to have a coach that can take all of the egos and all of the me, I players, which is pretty much the entire league, and find a way to get them to mesh. And that person is few and far in between. So I think if you give Karl an opportunity and you don't pull the rug out under him like Denver did after he won Coach of the Year and brought him to the playoffs, as long as you give him the opportunity and the chance, he's the kind of guy that can bring something to a team. But there's not many of him left. Not many coaches of his caliber, him and I don't want to say Phil Jackson because he'll probably never coach again. But like Popovich, you could even say Doc Rivers. But even with Doc Rivers, there have been a lot of, even during his Celtic days, there were issues with players talking back and trying to run the team. And I think that if he had a little more structure, they could have won more than one championship. But that's just me.
He is third in the NBA in free throws made, so I know that you'll get all about that.
Who, Cousins?
Yeah.
Well, the big thing, I mean, he's averaging 23 points, 12 rebounds a game. That's solid. 47% from the field is good. But, I mean, all of his stats are up from his career.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely making improvements, but I don't know if he is that guy that he's a guy that you can use as a role player. I don't think he's the superstar of the team.
No. The thing is, though, he's 6'11", 270 pounds. I mean, he's got the body to be the focal point of the offense. And you look at, field goal percent by distance, anything outside of 3 feet is a toss-up.
Yeah.
And you have to be a little bit more of a dynamic player if you and your quote-unquote camp is going to try to dissuade a coach from coming to
exactly. And that's why he can never be the cornerstone of a team. That was Rondo's problem with the Celtics. He was a great point guard, but nowadays a great point guard like a Chris Paul needs to be able to score too. And he, other than some fancy layups, he couldn't throw a rock in the ocean. And it's just, I think Cousins is going to have, that's why I said it would be a solid player, but he's not the kind of guy that you can say is your number one person on the team, just because he's kind of a one-trick pony. He can rebound. He's a traditional big man. He can rebound, and he's great scoring under the basket. But just nowadays, when you have people like, I know he's a million years old, but Dirk Nowitzki, who you're going to have to put your center on or your power forward, and he drags you out to the three-point line, it changes the game. It changes everything.
So speaking of Rondo, the Celtics beat the Heat 100-90. What do you make of this Boston Celtics team? I mean, they made some trades in the around the deadline. They grabbed Isaiah Thomas from Phoenix, not the bad Isaiah Thomas, of course. But if you're a Celtics fan, man, you are a Celtics fan. Tell me, how are you feeling when you look at this team, when you watch this team play? Because they're 26-36, which is better than I thought they'd be at this point.
It's better than I think a lot of people thought they'd be. Cautiously optimistic, because once again, this is still in the middle of the rebuilding stage, just after dropping the big three. To me, it's still a work in progress. I think it's a good sign, showing that the work that Danny Ainge has put in is not been for naught. All the draft picks they got, different trades. I mean, they are the team right now that has the most leverage to become great, as long as you can get one or two superstars to want to play there. And I think that's always a problem. It is a traditional, classic, one of the original great teams in the NBA, but it just seems like a lot of players don't necessarily want to go there. I know that sounds bad, but when you talk about top free agents, Boston never comes up. Getting Garnett and Ray Allen was a huge coup back in the day, but nowadays it doesn't seem like any of the big names want to go there, which I think they still need that guy. They need a proven, not only leader, but a proven superstar to go to the team to help anchor a lot of the young, great talent. But until then, I think they're going to steadily improve, but they're not going to make any huge leaps in the next year or two.
Tonight for the Celtics, 25 points for Thomas, 13 for Luigi Datome. I hope that's how you say that name. I really do, because I want it to sound as Italian as possible. 14 points for Brandon Bass, 10 points for Kelly Olynyk, who was apparently took the brunt of a Hassan Whiteside elbow. Whiteside getting the technical. For the Heat, Dwayne Wade, 34, 12 for Mario Chalmers, 14 for Michael Beasley, and 11 for Luol Deng. Looking at some stats right now off the top of my head, just glancing at it. The Celtics, 94% from the free throw line, Steve.
Yeah, I love it.
16 of 17.
Fundamentals.
Fundamentals. You look at this roster right now, and the starting five from 1 through 5: Marcus Smart, Evan Turner, Jay Crowder, Brandon Bass, and Tyler Zeller. That's the starting five. Isaiah Thomas played 31 minutes off the bench. Datome got 21 points. Olynyk 21 points. Jonas Jerebko with 20. I'm sorry, minutes I was talking about. Jonas Jerebko with 23 minutes. Not a lot of recognizable names on this team. But then you look at their defensive efficiency, and they're 15th in the NBA, which you don't write home about. But they're doing that with almost nobody on this team, to speak of as far as a name. And that stat right there is a season-long stat. So some of the guys that they traded away or whatnot probably contributed to that. But I think that's a great sign for what Brad Stevens is trying to do in Boston.
It is, but I see things still that what makes me cautious. They didn't shoot well tonight. It's just Miami shot worse. And you look at hoisting up 25 3-pointers. That's a sign to me of a young team. It's if they would have played any other team in this league tonight, they would have lost. Because, like I said, Miami just shot terrible. I mean, they were 42% from the field and 23 from three-point line. So they did not shoot well from the field tonight. You could say some of that would be the Celtics defense, but I mean, I get nervous when I see that many three-pointers.
Yeah, and I get it, and that's a sign of a chucking team. You know what I mean? Not really being able to advance the ball to the hoop, get in the paint, get some free throws, even though they apparently hit them tonight. But
I think the NBA, to make things competitive and to help the league. And I am a huge fan of the three-point line, but I still think they need to get rid of the three-point line.
No, come on, dude. Are you kidding
I think
me?
they need to get rid of the three-point line. It's become a crutch. It's taken away from what made the game exciting. Because now you just have a bunch of guys go down. They pass the ball around for a couple minutes. I mean, the fact that people are taking threes on fast breaks. Now, mind you, I'm a hypocrite because I used to do that, but I was horrible, and I shouldn't have done that. To see professional athletes, professional basketball players taking three-pointers on fast breaks is disgusting. And watching them hoist, like I said, 25 three-pointers in a game is insane, and there are teams that shoot a lot more. To me, that shows that I think there's more strategy to a good half-court game if you take away that three-point line. And I think it opens up more opportunities for just old-school play calling. Because nowadays it's a lot of one-on-one. It's a lot of just, like I said, passing the ball around. You have guys taking three-pointers that shouldn't be taking three-pointers. You have the classic Chris Bosh during the playoffs with Miami, hoisting threes when he should be down below. To me, I still think that'll help make the league more competitive.
You are out of your mind. You are absolutely out of your mind. Look, the problem with the three-point line is not the fact that the teams are shooting so many of them. It's the fact that nobody plays perimeter defense to be able to limit them, to contest them, to make them less advantageous. The three-point shot has added so many elements of drama, of what's the word? The opportunity for a team to climb out of a deficit. It's added so many things to the games. It goes against the primal nature of the game, if you will, because in its purest form, basketball is about trying to get the ball as close to the rim as possible, and the three-point line kind of draws it back out. I get that, but I don't think you can argue about what that the positives of the three-point line far outweigh.
See, I don't think so, because the drama would transition. It's not like there would be no drama left in those situations. I mean, I still remember watching all those old videos of games back in the 50s and 60s where there was no three-point line, and it was very, very dramatic. There was some fantastic play, but it was more in line with what you were saying, more in line with how basketball truly should be, is getting as close to the basket as possible and trying to get points down low, getting to the free throw line, making and in doing this, I think they would have to make an adjustment to how they call fouls nowadays too. Make it a little more in line with the way it used to be, and not with this whole ticky-tack, he brushed my wrist and it's a foul. I'm not saying go back to the Pistons where they would throw you to the ground and knock your face off, but I think that there is a huge issue right now with the way the game is played. And I think it will eventually. I mean, the league has already seen a huge dip in popularity. And I think over time it's only going to grow because you got these young players who are not ready to play going into the league. And the games are just have gotten away from what real fundamental basketball should be.
Dear God.
No, I'm not, but I look kind of like him.
I couldn't disagree with you with that more, but
oh my God, I'm glad you did. We've been agreeing too much lately.
Oh my God, I can't. you, the camper, the chucker, being against the 3-point line. What has happened to you in your old age?
Yeah, I had no right to be on a basketball court because of that fact. I mean, I am 5'0", and I would park my little butt 40 feet from the basket and just chuck them. And on a good night, I would make half of my shots.
But by doing that, you forced defenders to come out to you and open up the paint so that other players could score if you ever passed.
Exactly. That's the problem. It opened up the paint, but I was chucking, and that's what opened up the paint. And that's what you're seeing now. But you're seeing guys just hauling up shots instead of trying to working it down low to where – I mean, true basketball should be passing it down to the center and the whole offense revolving around the players in the paint.
Oh, you're such a purist at heart.
I am.
Such a purist at heart. I don't think you'll ever get me to disagree or to agree with that. I'm just
Freudian slip.
Not so much. All right, moving on. The Memphis Grizzlies beating the Chicago Bulls 101-91 tonight in Chicago. Zach Randolph with 16, Jeff Green 19, Marc Gasol, impending free agent Marc Gasol, 23 points.
Wait, how did that name go again?
Marc Gasol.
Gasol.
11 points for Tony Allen. For the Bulls, 21 for Tony Snell. That's right, the Tony Snell experience. 21 points tonight. Nikola Mirotic, 18 points, 15 for Aaron Brooks, and 13 for Pau Gasol. It was the battle of the Gasols tonight. A 32-point third quarter for Memphis, pretty much putting this one, putting them up and out of reach. They shoot 50% from the floor, 36% from the threes, only 70% from the line. Bulls 44% from the floor, 45% from three-point line. Blah 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 blah. 25 assists for the Memphis Grizzlies and 13 steals. That's just
impressive.
Fantastic.
Most impressive.
So, which brings me to my next kind of comment about the Bulls and somebody that's near and dear to your heart, and that would be Derrick Rose.
I was going to say that I hate being right, and I was once again proven 100% right about him.
Now, what exactly were you refresh the viewer's memory or the listener's memory? What exactly did you say about him?
Well, during our NBA preview, and I've said this before about Derrick Rose, and I have nothing against I shouldn't say I have nothing against Derrick Rose because I still hold a lot against him when he was sitting on the bench instead of helping the Bulls win a championship when they had the opportunity to. I feel bad for the guy that he keeps getting these injuries, but I had said to the beginning of the season, because everyone was talking about, oh my God, Rose in the offseason and playing for USA basketball looks fantastic. He's back. When you have the kind of knee injuries that he has, they're going to be a chronic issue. They're never going to be 100%, and they're always going to rear their ugly head, especially the way he plays. He throws everything at the basket. He just gets beat up every night. And I said that, the Bulls will never go far with Derrick Rose on the team because he will not be healthy. He will not make it through the season. And I've been proven right again. And I feel bad for Chicago. They have some talent on that team, but they are built to revolve around Derrick Rose. And I feel bad for the coach because there's a lot of people that are saying Thibodeau's got to go and blah, 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 where this guy, he's been playing the last couple seasons with a roster of players that no one expected to do, very much without Derrick Rose. And he's brought them pretty far in the postseason for the last few seasons without Rose. And he's going to have to prove it again, even though Derrick has said in a statement today that he thinks he'll be back before the end of the season. But even if he does, who knows if he'll mentally be ready or even physically be ready to go in a playoff environment, because everyone knows the postseason in the NBA is the only exciting time, because that's the only time nowadays when most teams put their 100%. So to me, I look at the Bulls again and I feel bad for them. They have a solid team. They've had some really good play this year, but because Derrick Rose is on their squad and his injuries reared their ugly head again, I don't think they're going to do anything. And I said that in the beginning of the season. I was right.
The thing with it, and again, our problem with Derrick Rose goes back to the Miami Heat playoff series 2 or 3 seasons ago when he was rehabbing and everyone said that he was fine, and he said he was fine, and he was owning everyone in practice, but he didn't want to play because he didn't feel comfortable or wasn't psychologically ready or whatnot. And they had the Heat on the ropes. I think it was the Heat's first championship that year. Was it? Was it that year? Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly. And they
They had them dead to rights.
Yeah, they had a moment in time where if they could have been able to pounce, they could have put the foot on the throat of the Miami Heat. And they just didn't have the weapons. And I remember Noah just looking exhausted that series because everybody was just trying to. I think Boozer was still on that team.
That was the big coming out party for Nate Washington too. I mean,
Robinson.
I'm sorry.
No, so as sports fans, as wannabe athletes, when you see someone not able or just kind of like looking off, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not being able to appreciate the opportunity that was right in front of him. Mm-hmm. I just feel like you do everybody else that doesn't have the opportunity that you have a disservice. Not that you owe anybody that, but it's like, dude, get out there and play. Because you know what? You may injure yourself again. You may injure yourself the next season. Oh, wait, he did. You may injure yourself again the season after that. Oh, wait, he did. Tomorrow is promised to no one, and you play today to win today. And the future will take care of itself. And
let's just prove the fact that to modern athletes, not all modern athletes, but the vast majority, it's all about business. Winning does not matter anymore. And you have a guy that even made it, I know we've beat this horse to death, but he mentioned in a statement after that he's looking out for his after basketball. Now, this is a guy that's making tens of millions of dollars to play basketball, and he's saying that he doesn't want to push it because if he's worried about what's going to happen after basketball. Now, I can understand if you're a guy in the NFL and you have multiple concussions saying something like that. But to be in the NBA, yeah, you're going to have knee issues, but with the kind of money you're making, you can get robot legs.
Really? That's where you want? You
robot legs.
You want robot legs there?
Full Terminator, robot legs.
In-depth analysis, folks. That's what you get on this show. And we are past due for a break, so let's take one now. When we come back, more NBA talk, and we'll dip into the diamond before heading to the NFL Hour with Jim Sarantias at the top of the hour. You're listening to 87 Sports Fans Live on Late Night Sports Radio.
baby, I'm waiting for you. So come on, break the rules. The time is right, the time's tonight. Let it start and you won't stop. Let it start and I won't stop. We'll never stop. Let it stop and we won't stop because this night belongs to us. We'll never stop because this night is just for us. We'll never
Lost or found love, lying by your side. Take another second to keep breathing in the moment before it's gone. You never know when others lost until you find just what it costs to be wrong. Wonder if you think of me passing by, you think you see me coming. I wonder if you pull me in, kiss me just one time again. Cause in the final hours of night, do you remember? Lost or found, love lying by your side. In the final hours of night, do you remember? Lost or found, love lying by your side. Days will keep on coming and the nights will keep on going till they're tired. Falling fast asleep and as they dream of ghosts of beats filled with desire. The chance of life is all around, a chance to take is always found. Oh, writing on the lullabies, I'm alone and live your life. Oh, in the final hours of night, do you remember? Lost or found, love lying by your side. In the final hours of
the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
In my shoes, my toes.
87 Sports Fans live on latenightsportsradio.com. Here every Monday night, folks, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, the time zone that runs the world. You can catch our blogs at 87sportsfans.com. You can catch this show anytime by going to 87sportsfans.com. There's a little player on the right-hand side. You can catch the most recent show, or you can head to latenightsportsradio.com and do a bunch of clicking, and you'll be able to find every episode you could possibly want to hear from Late Night Sports Radio. Also, follow us or subscribe on iTunes, and you will never miss a beat. Never, ever miss a beat.
So I got a question for you, sir, being a Lakers fan.
Uh-oh.
Would you want a player like Rajon Rondo on your team? Because I know there's a lot of talk going on right now with Kobe, who I guess for years now has been trying to recruit Rondo onto the Lakers. But, once again this season, he's proven that he is a tough player to coach, getting in arguments, getting benched. Would you want him on your team?
Absolutely not. I wouldn't. I'm old school when it comes to that. And if you're the kind of player that's going to yell F you to your coach, who not for nothing, that franchise did you a favor by taking you out of the rebuilding phase of Boston and bringing you to a team that at least has a shot to make some noise. Whether or not you believe they're actually going to do anything in the Western Conference is another story, but at least make some noise in the Western Conference. And when you're clearly ignoring your coach's instructions and that's your response, no, I haven't got any time for that. I will take my lumps watching Jordan Clarkson develop.
Good. Okay. I was just curious what your take on that would be.
No, I saw when I saw that replay, I haven't talked to you on the air or about sports anyway in like a while.
It's been a couple weeks.
Did you see the Jimmy Kimmel bit with Kobe Bryant when he showed him the video of Jordan Hill and Nick Young celebrating after they beat the Celtics in overtime to end an 8-game losing streak?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, you got to watch it. I won't do it now, but basically they're all acting like they just won a championship, and Nick Young's in the background saying what happened was the sideline reporter was trying to interview Jeremy Lin after the game, and they came up behind him and they're like, yeah, we're back in the building, you thought we were gone, blah blah blah, and Jimmy Kimmel plays the video clip for Kobe and goes, would that happen if you were there? And Kobe just stares at the camera for like 30 stares at Jimmy for like 30 seconds, doesn't say a word, and Kimmel starts laughing and goes, when I saw that, you're the first one I thought of. When I saw that.
Well, it's ridiculous.
It's not for nothing. And we just talked about how much the Celtics may be ahead of the curve rebuilding, but they are still rebuilding. They are not a good team, and you just beat that team in overtime, and you're jumping around like you won the championship. It just goes to just show how much the bar has been lowered in Los Angeles this past 2 seasons. And
a lot of immaturity.
Getting back to your other point about Kobe recruiting players, Kobe needs to stop. If you're going to play out your golden years here, then just do that. And stop trying to recruit, because I got a feeling that the guys that you want are not really the best for what this franchise really needs. He's hoping to God that they can scrape together something to contend before he has to call it quits, whether it's next year or another year after that or 2 years after that. It's not going to happen, Kobe, and I hate to see you in another uniform, but...
And that's the funny part, is what the franchise really needs is him to go. Because Kobe, he's been, one of the best ever. He's past his prime. He's making way too much money, and... once again, you have a team that's still building around a player who is spotty with injuries and won't be there in a couple years. So the best thing that would happen for the Lakers is if Kobe retired, because they need to start their post-Kobe lives They just have to. And I like Kobe Bryant. I have my issues with him, and I'm still not, I'm not a Laker fan. I don't hate them like I used to, but I'm still not a Laker fan. But I do respect Kobe and his game and how it transitioned over the years. But it's gotten to the point now where he just needs to go. And it's gonna be that sad Jordan on the Wizards.
No.
It is. It's getting to that point, and I think next season will be that point because you have a guy that relied so much on his quickness and his explosiveness, and when you take that away and make them a jump shooter, it's Mark Johns at the YMCA. It's an old guy that's trying to continue to play with the young guys, and every now and then he'll have a little flash of what he used to be, but for the most part, he's just going to be a shadow of his former self. And that's not how we want to remember Kobe, and that's not what the Lakers need to succeed.
I can't think of Kobe in that
You have
light.
a stunned look on your face.
I can't think of Kobe in that light. I just can't. And I'll admit it. It's because I don't want to. Just saying.
Yeah.
I really don't want to. So.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to admit it seems like it's getting to that point. If he's on the court, once again, his injuries have been so prolific the last few seasons. Who knows if he'll even put a whole season together?
Yeah. I don't know. Let's talk.
Stunned silence.
Let's talk. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to. I think he needs to. I would like to see him exit gracefully, but knowing him, he's gonna play until his legs fall off, and that's.
Which could be next season.
And when I say knowing him, I because I know him not at all. For the record,
you're not pen pals?
No. All right. NBA scoreboard going back down. The Pelicans beat the Bucks 114-103. Anthony Davis 43 points, 10 boards, 6 assists. Eric Gordon 16, Tyreek Evans 13 and 6 assists. Norris Cole chipping in 11 points and 4 assists for the Bucks. And I looked up. I got to make sure I pronounce this right. Giannis Adetokounmpo. Giannis Adetokounmpo. There you go. I'm reading that on basketball.
That was impressive.
You know what is that? One of his nicknames is the alphabet. Makes total sense. Makes total sense. But
yeah,
him scored 29 points, 3 blocks, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. Michael Carter-Williams, 25 points, 7 assists, 17 points for Chris Middleton. The Bucks, they're 33-30. Michael Carter-Williams has played okay for them since coming over from the black hole that is the 76ers. In this game, to me, the real story is Anthony Davis. And when he's healthy, 17 of 23 tonight, 9 of 11 from the free throw line. Here's the thing. He's going to be following LeBron's coattails as far as who is the star in the NBA. But as soon as LeBron's body breaks down, it's the league is his. In my point, what do you think of that?
See, that's tough to say. At the beginning of the season, I thought Anthony Davis was going to undoubtedly become the best player in the league throughout this year because, once again, LeBron has been playing great, but I think Anthony Davis has taken it to another level. That level that LeBron used to play at that just doesn't anymore. But then you look at players like Brian Westbrook and James Harden, who are having phenomenal seasons.
You mean Russell Westbrook?
Russell Westbrook, I mean. Wow, Brian Westbrook. Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about football. But you think about these guys having great seasons, and it's just – I still think Davis is going to be the guy. He's the next face of the league. But I don't know if he's quite there yet. I think if he can stay healthy by next season, he will be the man.
Even with LeBron still prominent in the league.
Yeah, because once again, LeBron, he's not the name that's talked about anymore in the NBA. He's kind of like what happened. Now, I mean, I'm not talking about a woman beating his truck to death with a golf club, but how Tiger Woods had that one issue where he had all that personal stuff, and then he's not a talking point anymore. I mean, no one brings him up. And LeBron, he had the issues with the whole going to Miami thing, but then he kind of started rebuilding his credibility. But then he went to Cleveland, having all these issues, and then some injury problems, and you don't really hear about LeBron James anymore. I mean, it used to be every day you would hear something on either ESPN or on the news or on the internet. There'd always be a story. You'd hear something about LeBron James. You just don't anymore. And I think he's becoming, I don't want to say a forgotten superstar, but I don't know if he's ever going to get that clout back that he had a few seasons ago. I just don't think he will. I
mean, LeBron's LeBron. I just think we take him for granted completely. When he owns a game,
we do take him for granted.
Over, he's still the physical freak, and I still have my conspiracy theories in my head run rampant when I think about it. He takes this break, and then all of a sudden he comes back playing better than ever. I want to know what he was taking. But look at Anthony.
He was talking to A-Rod.
Yeah, right. Anthony Davis with a PER of over 30 this season in 51 games played. And the scary thing about him is that he's only 21 years old.
Yeah. See, he's
going to turn 22 in 2 days, actually. 22 years old, and he's playing that kind of 54% field goal percentage for this year. That's just ridiculous. I mean, for somebody that big, for somebody that young, I mean. To be playing that efficiently.
I'm going to say something.
Here we go.
And you can put it in stone. If Anthony Davis can stay healthy, if he can have a career kind of like Tim Duncan to where he really doesn't have injury problems, he can stay healthy, I believe he will finish with more championships than LeBron.
Oh, come on, dude.
I do. I think his career, with what he can do, because if you look at LeBron, he flip-flops between teams. But it's more difficult to build a team around a player like LeBron than it is around a player like Anthony Davis. Because you can take a person like him, a solid rebounding, scoring center, and you can put pieces around him and build a championship team like the Spurs did. They took Tim Duncan, big man in the middle, had all the talent in the world, and they put these pieces. Not the greatest players ever, but really solid people like Ginobili and Parker, and then all those interchangeable parts throughout Duncan's career that have helped him win the championships. And you just had that tentpole of Tim Duncan. You had that player that plays down below, and you're going to get consistent numbers from him. You know what he's going to do. LeBron is and has always been too inconsistent. He's without doubt one of the greatest players ever, but then at times he plays like he has no confidence, and he plays like he doesn't want to be that great player. To me, I think Anthony Davis has the confidence, he has the consistency, and he has the ability to become that Tim Duncan that can take a team to multiple championships and can build a team around him like New Orleans. Build a team around him into this powerhouse. And players will want to play with him. That's another thing.
What I like about Anthony Davis is that he's developing a game or enhancing a game. Maybe developing is the wrong word. He's enhancing his game away from the basket. He's shooting 45% from 3 to 10 feet, 41% from 10 to 16 feet. Those are all things that are going to make him harder to stop because we all know what he can do around the rim. What I like about him is that he's 6'10", he's not 7 feet. 7-footers always have problems with their feet, always. Yep. He's 6'10", 220 pounds, so he's not his knees. If he maintains that body weight, his knees theoretically could be in it for the long haul. But even with everything that he does really well, and he is a rebounding and defensive beast when he's on the floor. I'm trying to look at.
He's the player that Dwight Howard should have been.
Wow.
What everyone thought Howard was in his career when I said he was one of the most overhyped players in the league.
Yeah.
He is what everyone thought Dwight Howard was.
Right now, as far as blocks per game, he's first. Block percentage, he's second. 6% of the shots that go up against him are blocks, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you think about it, that's a lot. Yeah. Contesting right there. But even with all that, the Pelicans are still 25th in defensive efficiency. There's not enough around him. So I know there's a long way to go for him to win 7 championships. It's very hard for me to get behind that prediction right here and now, where we stand.
We shall see. We shall see, young Padawan. We shall see. I know one thing is they need to find a way to cut his minutes down a little bit. I mean, I'm all for players, putting in a full game, but what you were saying with him being a big man, I think you might want to start kind of like with a young pitcher. Bring his pitch count down. I mean, 41 minutes is great, but maybe if you could try to consistently put him at like the 35-minute, and I know 6 minutes doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a huge amount in the NBA. I think that's something they need to really, hopefully, get enough players around him where they can start kind of toning his minutes down a little bit. Because that, once again, going back to Duncan, that's kind of what happened with him. Is throughout his career, he's always been in the 35, 40-minute range, and especially lately, he's been in like 25 to 30 range. So the less stress you can put on his body, the better.
All right, really quick before we go to break, the Washington Wizards defeat the Charlotte Hornets 95-69. Gortat for the Wizards with 20, 15 for John Wall, and 9 assists, 14 and 5 boards for Bradley Beal, 12 points for Kevin Serafin to go along with 7 rebounds. 52% from the floor, the Wizards shot.
That's crazy.
52%. The Hornets, on the flip side of that, only 32.5%. 25. They put up 77 shots, made 25. Okay, and what I want to prove to you, what I want to say to you about how bad this Hornets team, because the Wizards, my friends, they play good defense. They're not lights out by any stretch of the imagination, and this team held the Charlotte Hornets to 23 points in the second half.
That's crazy.
The game was in Charlotte. If you're in Charlotte and you go to this game, pay money to watch an NBA game, and your team scores 23 points in an entire half while getting drubbed by the Wizards, I want a refund. I want my money back.
And talk about deflating the stadium. They had 0 fast break points. If there's anything that can get your crowd going to get you going, it's getting fast breaks. 0 fast break points.
You can't get a fast break when you barely know how to play the game.
Yep.
All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, it's that time, kids. It's time for the NFL Hour with Jim Sarantias from thefantasygreek.com. You're listening to 87 Sports Fans Live on Late Night Sports Radio.
Baby, you're a mystery. Tell me what's a girl gotta do? Looking at the history doesn't seem to give any clue. Just when I think I understand it all, you seem to unravel some more. Ooh, la, 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 ooh, I never know nobody like you. Ooh, la, 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 ooh, now I know. Baby, you're my diamond. Ooh, la, la, ooh, la, 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 bigger, but I can't seem to figure it through. I wanna make it better, but now I'm scared of looking a fool. Oh, baby, no, I've never been very good at playing it cool. Just when I think I understand it all, I find I know nothing at all. I never known nobody like you. Now I know you're under labor.
Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
And we're back, 87 Sports Fans Live. It's the NFL Hour. I don't know what happened to my rejoin, so...
The heavy
guys.
breathing wasn't the rejoin?
No, not this time.
Okay.
You can try and read my
see,
lyrics
there it
off
is.
of this paper before I lay 'em. But
Good.
you won't take the
This is
sting of these
fantastic.
words before I say 'em. 'Cause ain't no way I'm gonna let you stop me from
It's 87 Sports Fans Live, the NFL Hour. And kids, if you're new to the show, that means we are now joined by Jim Sarantias from thefantasygreek.com. Jim, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Keith, how are you? Steve, you look absolutely wonderful tonight.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I like the dress. It's cute.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder, Jim. Just remember.
Yeah, it does.
It's an absolute love fest in here tonight. It's fantastic.
We were listening to Barry White during the
Even though
outro.
you look kind of sleepy, Keith.
It's been a long day. I'm not going to lie.
Sleepy Keith.
I'm exhausted from trying to keep up with all of the leaked free agency news that, there's nothing to look forward to tomorrow because we know pretty much everything that's going to happen.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, it's crazy. There was even a news break and a news item that came out today, and I didn't even have a chance to write about it or do much research into it. But apparently the NFL is investigating all these announcements of these early, quote, signings, which really they're, two signs, agreements in principle. And I just think it's hilarious.
It's a joke because you can't come out with legal tampering and then get ticked when people leak the information. It's a little bit of a hypocritical stance, but what else is new, really?
Keith, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by legal tampering, but
that's what they're calling it, the legal tampering period.
Well, I think what you're calling it's really tortious interference with
Here we
contractual
go.
relations.
There you go.
Technical term for it.
You're using fancy words, and now I just want to drink.
I just wanted to say the word tortious.
Not with,
Tortious.
Not with so many witnesses.
Yes.
Just saying.
Well,
We just lost our PG standing.
Yeah, tortious. So here we are talking about Frank Gore, speaking of tortious interference, sort of balking at joining the Eagles.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I'm really appalled and disappointed at Gore. How could he ever make such, how could he sit there and say, "Oh, I'm not interested anymore," after it sounds like there's agreement in principle. And certainly, if you're the Eagles, you have to be just PO'd to no end over this. So while I think the Eagles can make a big fuss, they'll probably likely just move on and just say, "Forget you, Gore. There's better and younger running backs out there for us to have."
Yeah.
But I could see them looking at it saying, hey, we got rid of LaShawn McCoy. We got our running back. He was not a running back of the future, but he's going to be there to help us over the next couple seasons. And then he just pulls the rug out from underneath him.
Well, how old is Frank Gore now?
30.
So we all know what happens to running backs over, at 30. He's probably feeling the push to maybe, take one last foray into trying to win a championship. So what I don't understand is yesterday when he agreed to terms with the Eagles, were the Colts not on the radar? And was it like, okay, I'm going to agree with Philadelphia, and then he hangs up the phone, and he's shaking hands, all of a sudden the phone rings, and it's like Andrew Luck be like, oh, dude, we were just about to call you.
Well, technically, the Colts couldn't do that. They can't sit there and you do exactly what I said, which is tortiously interfere with the contract that might have been entered into between Frank Gore and the Eagles. My guess is the Colts had something on the table, and or maybe it did come in late. Or his agent, of all people, go figure, the agent might be the one at fault here, took the offer and said, "Hey, Frank, guess what? You're being offered a little bit more. Maybe we can," and I'm speculating here. I don't know exactly what happened. But could just say, "Frank, you could just say you've got cold feet and, we're not obligated to sign anything until Tuesday. And even then we could still walk away. And why would they care? Because you don't want to be there."
Right.
And I mean the Eagles.
Right. At this point, I can understand why Gore would not want to go through. Cause, I mean, let's be honest. The Eagles are, with all of the players that they've given up on, traded away, they're kind of de facto rebuilding. when you think about it. I mean, it's the same scheme. Some of the pieces are still in place. Some of the key pieces are still in place. But you've let LaShawn McCoy, Jeremy Maclin, Deshaun Jackson all go from your offense. Okay, you don't have a quarterback because you just re-signed Mark Sanchez for 2 years. And I know there's some pockets that may think that might be doable or that Sanchez didn't play all that bad last year, but he's not the long-term answer going forward. So I understand why Gore would not want to be a part of that. The problem that I have with it is, why agree to it then? It's nothing new. You knew this was all happening. Just be a man.
Well,
just say you don't want to. And once you agree, then man up and stand by it. Don't get cold feet and try to weasel out of it.
I will say when the transaction or the indication that there was a transaction was coming through on the wire, two things jumped out at me. One was how inexpensive Gore was. I mean, $7.5 million guaranteed for 2 years is really not much. I mean, it's not even. I would say it's more of backup money for a running back. And then secondly, I thought, why would Frank Gore want to go to the Eagles where they run an up-tempo offense that would require him to be on the field 2-3 plays right in a row? He's not getting any younger. He's also been notorious the last several seasons for being given time off, being allowed to miss OTAs. I don't know about training camp, but at least not having to play in preseason games. And that just doesn't strike me as a Chip Kelly, player.
Right.
And I even wondered why the Eagles were going for him. It just, none of it made any sense to me. So maybe at the end of the day, this is, better for the Eagles.
No, I agree. I agree totally. But let's talk about the flip side of that. The mass exodus from San Francisco with all of these players either opting out or signing elsewhere, or retiring. Patrick Willis announces his retirement today. Justin Smith is expected to announce his retirement today. Kaepernick is supposedly on the trade block. Might end up in Philly or Chicago, God forbid. It just seems like San Francisco needlessly blew this thing up by pushing Harbaugh out of town. And now all the players are like, well, this place is crazy. I'm getting the hell out of here. Am I the only one that has that impression?
No, it does seem like it's borderline rebuilding right now, just by what's been going on in this offseason. I mean, it's of all the teams, you hit it on the head, Keith, that has been making moves that I are not necessarily positive, and it's either moves they've done themselves or they've had happen to them. It's going to be a completely different 49ers team. And they're not even going to look remotely similar to what was on the field last season and the season before.
Yeah, I mean, this absolutely feels like that they have prematurely blown this team up. It clearly stemmed from a disagreement between Jim Harbaugh and general management. And they just decided we're the general management and you're gone and we're going to do whatever we want to do. And they couldn't find a head coaching replacement in a timely fashion. And now they've got players who are probably angry at all these moves that have been made because, quite frankly, if they didn't do but anything but focus on their weaknesses and just get healthy, the 49ers would have been a team we would have been talking about since the season ended as potentially being a contender for next season. And now we just don't know what to say about him because there are more questions than answers in this entire situation. Now, for the listeners out there, especially if you're a 49ers fan, I can tell you that these trade rumors of Colin Kaepernick, they've been shot down by Trent Baalke as long ago as Sunday, so none of that seems to be true. The Patrick Willis potential retirement certainly is a shocker. It hasn't been made official. It's just sort of out there. But to see all these free agents end up at on different teams, I don't think is much of a surprise given what's happened in such a short period of time. This is a team that, unfortunately is forcing itself into rebuilding, and it might end up being a very painful process for at least a couple of seasons.
Yeah, I agree. Let's
Yes.
Can you hear me?
You're moving your lips, Keith, but we can't hear anything. Where's the? I mean, we see the dummy on the video, but we can't see you, the ventriloquist.
That's great. That's fantastic.
His wife's always pulling his ropes.
And yet I sign up for this week after week. Let's talk about some of the deals that we have known about. Number one, the Patriots signing Devin McCourty and declining Darrelle Revis' option. Now, there still obviously is a chance that Revis ends up with the Patriots at a cheaper rate. I don't know. It all depends on how much Revis wants another shot at a ring, because it seems to be between the Patriots and the Jets from everything that I've read. I really think the Patriots holding on to McCourty was key, but God, they paid a lot for a safety. No?
You mean last season?
Well, no, Devin McCourty. They just resigned.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
they paid a lot for a safety, but I think they made the right choice. I mean, he's vital to that team. He's a fantastic player, and yeah, they paid a lot for him. But there are some players that are worth it, and I think he was worth it.
Yeah, I'd like to echo Steve's comments. I think he was well worth it, and the whole issue with Revis is really going to boil down to. I hate saying it. I think it's going to depend on how much the Jets are willing to offer. If you're Revis, to me, you want to be on the team that gives you the best chance at winning a Super Bowl and sort of solidifies your future in the Hall of Fame. But I mean, the chances of the Patriots winning a second Super Bowl back-to-back years it's just not good. Just statistically speaking, I think that it's going to be tougher for them. But if either one of the three of us were Darrelle Revis, I think the three of us would agree we would rather be with the Patriots playing with a team that is of that caliber than the Jets that still might have a few years to get back to the Super Bowl, where the Patriots could actually, if they don't get back this coming year, the following year or the year after that, when maybe Tom Brady's career is heading towards an end spot. So
right. So the Patriots lose anything, and they basically are starting 2015 out as perennial favorites to get back to the Super Bowl. No,
I agree, and I think something that would benefit them is to get a weapon, and just happen. And I know it's been talked about, the Texans releasing Andre Johnson. I think he would be a fantastic addition to the Patriots and somebody that could help Brady, who is getting older, be able to at least get one more shot at another Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know that Andre Johnson would make a difference. I mean, they have a great team regardless, but a player like Darrelle Revis would make a difference. I mean, he is the best corner in football right now. I would be hard-pressed to find another that I could easily say is better. So, without him, I mean, they're going to have to fall to free agency or the draft, and I don't think they're going to get the same thing that they get with Revis. I think I don't know how many balls were thrown his way, but he defended 14 of them, so it wasn't that many. If you know what I'm saying.
Right. But there we go. Is that better? That's better.
Much better.
My mic is playing games with me.
It's a pretty fancy mic, by the way.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, where's my train of thought now? Oh my gosh! All right, so staying on the defensive side.
Oh, don't blush, Keith. Don't blush.
Ndamukong Suh to the Miami Dolphins.
Wait, what was that name again, Keith?
Ndamukong Suh.
Okay.
Why did I say it wrong?
No, it just, that first one sounded a little funky.
Did it sound like I said Donkey Kong Suh?
Yes, it did sound like you said Donkey Kong Suh. So.
Releasing this fall for Wii U, Donkey Kong Suh. Sorry.
He stomps on Mario's head. Is that what he does?
Yeah. Leg whips and all that other junk. So the Dolphins didn't have a bad defense. Obviously, Suh makes any defense better. But you look at their glaring needs on offense. This team obviously can't be done putting pieces together. But does this, in your opinion, does Suh add enough to this defense to make them a championship caliber defense?
I don't know about that. I mean, he's, like you said, he's definitely going to make any team better he goes to. The thing I'd be concerned is he's proven that when he gets frustrated, bad things happen. And when you're going to a team like Miami that has issues and has needs, I'm just more concerned with what can happen in between plays than what he's going to do to help them during.
I mean, honestly, I think the answer to the question is I don't know, and I don't know because the Dolphins paid a lot of money for him.
Yeah.
In 6 years, $114 million. That's like elite quarterback money.
Yeah.
So even if they can get by with it this coming year, what's going to happen the 5 years after that when potentially more pressures are going to be exerted on their salary cap? I just don't know if they didn't, pay too much to not be able to bring like the rest of the team back. And Donnell Ellerbe, there's talk that he'll be released. They've obviously Cortland Finnegan is a free agent. I think their safety, what's his name, is a free agent.
The safety.
Okay.
I'm looking at the. I gotta call up their depth chart right now.
Please do. So I guess my point is, I don't know that he's the be end all. The defensive tackle position was the one thing that they needed. If you ask me, what they needed was a better offense, and they're better off focusing in on getting another wide receiver besides Brian Hartline. They're better off getting a better running back besides the running backs that they have. They're better off improving their offensive line or at least getting some depth because that offensive line has been beat up the last couple of seasons, and it's doing them absolutely no favors. None. Zero. Zippo.
And Tannehill's not a world beater by any stretch of the imagination, so you got to keep him upright. And if you can't protect him, you can't run the ball. You're just making life harder on yourself.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's a guy that he's shown something, and if they can give him the chance, I think he could be a great player. I think Mike Wallace can be a great player if they get the football in his hands. I don't buy that Mike Wallace is the problem. I think the problem, quite frankly, is the coaching staff. Because if it's me, I'm getting my best players the football whenever I possibly can.
Jim, were you thinking of Louis Delmas?
Yeah, I was.
Okay. Yeah, he is an unrestricted free agent.
Okay, well, there we go.
And there it is, and there it was.
And there it was.
Jared Odrick is on the way out as well. He was one of their higher-rated defensive linemen last year.
And he was signed to... Who was he signed to today?
Oakland, I believe. If I remember.
The Raiders.
I don't think it was the Raiders. Hold on. To the Jaguars.
Oh, Jaguars.
Jaguars. He's agreed to sign a deal with them. That's a good signing for them.
Which, speaking of the Jaguars... It seems like every offseason, well, not every, the last 2 or 3 off seasons, since Gus Bradley's been there anyway, the Jaguars always make some kind of tinkering move, and everybody wants to say, oh, the culture's changing in Jacksonville. The culture's changing in Jacksonville. But it hasn't really translated on the field. And yes, I know they had a rookie quarterback last year, and they really haven't had a running back. I don't know if Denard Robinson is really the answer there. And they had a whole bunch of off-the-field issues with their wide receivers. But Julius Thomas apparently is going to sign with them. And the part that I find most shocking about this story is that not only did the Broncos not offer him, they didn't even call him about this, about coming back. Doesn't that scream buyer beware to you? Like I
haven't heard that report at all. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you, Keith, but I'm shocked the Broncos didn't call him because he clearly had chemistry with Peyton Manning, and I think that there's something to be said about that. Now they probably don't want to pay $8 or $9 million a year for a tight end. Maybe they're thinking more in the 5 to 7 range, but Julius Thomas was not the problem. That's for sure. So whatever Broncos general management is thinking, if they're thinking Julius Thomas was the problem, that's certainly not it.
Yeah, I just you think about the Broncos. Peyton Manning's coming back. We all know what happened to Peyton down the stretch there. Why would you want to take away or let go a nice big red zone target that has had such success being on the receiving end of Peyton Manning? I don't understand. Just trying to wrap my brain around it.
Me too. I wouldn't understand it at all.
But like you said, Keith, it could be that there's just something we don't know.
But see, why are we inferring that? I don't think we should infer it. I think it could be equally inferred that there are some crazy people there in general management making the calls here. I mean, they fired their head coach who twice got them to the playoffs, even got into the Super Bowl. And they're saying that they need that little something extra. Well, maybe you give him an opportunity to do it again because now he's learned from his previous experience.
Wait,
none of that makes any sense. They should have never fired John Fox.
Are you questioning Elway?
I am. I'm completely questioning him.
Nobody questions Elway and lives to tell about it.
That team, he was the guy who... Didn't he bring in Tim Tebow? Wasn't he there when Tim Tebow was...
He was there. I don't know if it was him, per se, but...
it was the coach. Who was the coach? Why can't I think of his name?
Daniels.
It's Josh Daniels.
Yeah, it's Josh Daniels.
But somebody must have given the blessing.
He may have... I think he was a second-round draft pick, wasn't he? Or maybe later. Maybe he was later than that, third or fourth round.
It's possible they let Daniels make the calls, the call that year, and afterwards Elway made the call. But I guess the point being, I mean, Demaryius Thomas, I'm not sure when he was drafted, but I want to say he was there before Elway was the president of the team. So somebody else made that call.
Yeah.
If we're going to say that somebody else made the call on Tim Tebow. Anyway, my point being, I just think that what we saw happen with the Broncos, sort of them imploding their team a little bit, that doesn't sit well with me either. It's as if, why? I mean, who can you possibly get to make this team better? I mean, get a few players. Don't sit there and implode one-third of the team.
Right.
Oh, and Keith, Tebow was the 25th pick in the 2010 draft.
He was a first-round pick?
First-round pick.
As an H-back or as a quarterback?
Quarterback.
Yeah, they moved up, as I recall. They traded up to get Tebow right at the end of the round.
Dear God. I personally was really shocked that Manning went there, not to reopen old wounds. I really thought that if you went to
let's not do that.
I really thought that if you got to Arizona, it would be a totally different story. But hey, it is what it is. So other deals going down. The Chicago Bears get an outside edge rusher, Pernell McPhee. Didn't play like half the snaps, had a ton of QB hits. Everyone is liking this signing. It really does change or kind of at focus, I guess, for the first round, what the Bears do in the draft now, because a lot of people were mocking them to take an edge rusher. Now maybe they can focus on a D tackle if Danny Williams is available. Jim, where do you see the Bears' biggest need going into the draft now that they have this outside edge rusher?
Wow. Well, it's either going to be cornerback or safety. I mean, take your pick. They're both. They need somebody. They need somebody to take Charles Tillman's place. If they don't have that in line, they definitely need a safety because they've been awful in that secondary. I can't see who else it could possibly be.
The only good news for Bears fans is that Chris Conte will not be back.
He's like your best friend.
And by Bears fans, you say you, right?
My nemesis. He is my nemesis.
Hey, can I give a plug to the fantasygreek.com?
Oh, too late. You already did, but go ahead.
No, I did not. No, I just want to make a plug for all our listeners out there to go check out our 2015 NFL free agent tracker. It's out there. We've got the free agents and unrestricted free agents, and I'm trying to keep track of all the trades and craziness going on, but it's all there for you to, every once in a while check in and, get an update if you need an update, and we're linking them to our articles, so it's kind of a cool thing.
Jim, what was your take on the Brandon Marshall trade?
I was stunned because I've been one of the people, or the only person, saying that it makes no sense for the Bears to cut Marshall. And I was even a little shocked that they traded him. Clearly they got rid of him because they just want to move on.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's Jay Cutler's now in line to be traded, which I've heard rumors of that. It's hard to say, but if you're the Jets, you have to be happy. They got a player for, I think, about $9 million who, with the exception of last year when he was hurt and 1 year many seasons ago, Marshall's been a 1,000-plus yard receiver, 8+ TDs per season. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. So I like his chances of remaining productive for the Jets and opening up their offense, giving Eric Decker some opportunities as well.
He's been statistically fine. You know, it's the crap that started popping up last season about the locker room. And David Haw from the Chicago Tribune reported that when he met Fox and John Fox and Ryan Pace, the new GM, one of his first comments out of his mouth was about his Showtime gig for Inside the NFL, and that's not going to fly. John Fox wants you here to win and focused. So it doesn't surprise me that they traded him to New York because he's that much closer to his Inside the NFL gig, if that's where his head is right now. But you start connecting the breadcrumbs a little bit about that Bears locker room, and I don't see how he at least wasn't part of the root cause of all the dysfunction that came out of that team last year.
Well, you can definitely say that he didn't seem to be the root answer to it.
Yeah. He didn't help. Certainly did not help.
Or at least not that we're aware of. Maybe he did some things in the locker room, but none of that, to my knowledge, has come to the surface.
Well, what I read in that piece on the Tribune was basically that the Bears players were like, "Well, it's just Brandon, pretty much. Nobody's paying attention anyway." It was that kind of constant chatter, jaw-jacking in the locker room. It just kind of annoyed everybody. But
I'll tell you, now that they've gotten rid of him, wow, does it open up a lot of potential in this draft with so many young wide receivers out there for the taking. And you've got Alshon Jeffrey, who's clearly going to be the number one wideout.
But he's not. But that's dangerous though, because he's not an X.
You don't think so?
No, he doesn't have the separation ability.
You're killing me.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, Keith.
Yeah,
he doesn't
I don't agree with that at all.
He doesn't. He is more Elvin Harper than Michael Irvin.
Brandon Marshall was less an X receiver and more of sort of a short yardage guy who could pile on the yards after the catch.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was more Trestman's offense than anything else. But
Alshon Jeffrey was a deep threat. He made some incredible catches.
Don't get me wrong. Overall, you're gonna if you're.
Well, I'm getting you wrong because I disagree, and it sounds like Steve disagrees. Steve,
I absolutely disagree.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh God! Now he's gonna pull up some stat. Oh
we
my
got so
God!
much news to do here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's such good radio.
I just disagree.
I'm looking forward to our Wednesday night show. I've been reaching out to the Fantasy Greek analysts, and rather than have a special guest, we're gonna have a bunch of the analysts because there should be so much news with all the free agency frenzy kicking in full speed tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time. By Wednesday, it'll be nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So
nuts.
Just saying.
Absolutely nuts.
Your voice got really high. It sounded like Prince.
It did a little bit, huh? I've been practicing. I watch The Voice and I think to myself, maybe there's an opportunity here for me.
Just break out during our next break. I want to hear Purple Rain.
All right.
Oh my
you
gosh.
got it.
Dear God help us all. All right, let's take a quick break, short break. When we come back, more NFL free agency talk. You're listening to 87 Sports Fans Live on Late Night Sports Radio.
feeling crazy, I feel so bad. When you go out, it hurts me too. I don't know why I'm feeling blue. When you stay in, I want you out. When you're not here, I'm staring back. I don't know why I feel so strange today. I want to learn, I want to change. This passion kills me, you hesitate. Sometimes you love me, sometimes you hate. We get it harder and then again. We love each other, oh yes we can. You drive me so mad.
Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
87 Sports Fans live on Late Night Sports Radio. It's the NFL Hour, Part 2. Keith Grieve and Steve Taylor from 87sportsfans.com, joined by Jim Sarantias from thefantasygreek.com. The phone number to call in, folks, if you want to, 585-633-7487, 585-633-7487. And so we just spent the first part of the segment talking about the free agency deals that we know about, that have been leaked, that we're not supposed to know about. Shh, super secret.
Who did we talk about? We talked about, what, Frank Gore?
Frank Gore annoying us.
Yes.
We talked about Ndamukong Suh. We talked about Julius Thomas. Talked about Devin McCourty and Darrell Revis.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about, well, we also talked about the 49ers just kind of being a quagmire right now. And I believe that's all we got to. How big of a coup was it for the Packers to keep Randall Cobb?
I think it was huge.
Huge.
Huge. He's a player that him and Aaron Rodgers together are, as long as Cobb is healthy, they've proven that they're just a formidable force. So keeping him on the team is just massive. And not a lot of people with all the stuff going on, I think that hasn't gotten as much play, where I think that was a massive, massive signing.
Jordy Nelson had more targets last year.
Can't be by much.
20-something.
Okay. So roughly 1 to 2 targets per game. I mean, you expect that from your ex-receiver, where Randall Cobb is more of a slot kind of guy. I mean, Randall Cobb, I think he plays much better because of Jordy Nelson's presence. In other words, I wouldn't want Cobb to be the only top receiver on my team. I would want him with someone else. But I found sort of this, we didn't sign Randall Cobb during the course of the season. The franchise tag is $12 million, but we only want to pay him 9 to 10, which is, I think, where they sort of ended up. I find that all to be so comical that everybody's sort of, I mean, there's really no big difference between $2 and $3 million. I think somebody would argue with me that there is a big difference, and I guess, dollars and cents wise there is, but I mean, he's that good of a player in that system, and he's well worth the money. And for the Packers to have risked losing him, and by the way, my understanding is there were at least 3 teams that offered him more money, and he said no to, and I almost find that to just be insulting. I mean, I don't know why he didn't take the money and go someplace, because I think he would be a great receiver wherever he goes.
Breaking news.
He might be one of those rare players that looks at the bigger picture as far as winning, knowing that, $10 million is still $10 million, and you have a much better chance playing with the best quarterback in the league, in my opinion, with Aaron Rodgers.
But in essence, the Packers nickeled and dimed him. I mean, they could have just paid him the $12 million and said, we're done with this. And instead they're like, well, we want to work on this, blah, blah, blah. And we're not going to pay you more than these other teams because that's what we think you're worth is only $9 million, not $12 million. And he decides to stick with the $9 million? That makes no sense.
Yeah. No, I agree. Breaking news, apparently the Seattle Seahawks are going to sign Kerry Williams. Seeing this from Anthony DeMoro from SportsRants.com. So,
going a little local, though, how big is it for Buffalo today? Not only do they sign man, my brain is shot right now.
That big, huh?
LaShawn McCoy signed him to a 4-year deal, but they also made it known that they are going to be keeping Fred Jackson. I mean, I know that the Fred Jackson, C.J. Spiller was a good rushing attack, but, man, Fred Jackson and McCoy I think is going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, you need two these days. Especially because LaShawn McCoy has been nicked up a little bit the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Hey, you thought
but I think just the impact that Jackson has with the fans and in the locker room it's the fact that they're keeping him is just fantastic.
You thought that was bigger news than the Bills resigning defensive end Jerry Hughes?
No, that not losing him was as big a coup as getting LaShawn McCoy in a trade, I thought.
I think
not losing him is huge, and yeah, signing Hughes is big. But I think that on their defense, he is a major component. But when you're looking at the rushing attack that you're going to have, which is going to be, who knows what their quarterback play is going to be? To me, their rushing game is going to be everything next season on offense. So to have both those guys locked up and happy is, I think, huge.
Well, I mean, I think they've asked Fred Jackson to restructure his deal. I don't know if he's agreed to that yet. So I don't think that it's a done deal. I mean, if Fred Jackson doesn't restructure, that the team might actually look at cutting him regardless of what his status is with the team. I mean, he's not a young guy anymore. He's got to be 33, 34 years old.
I think he's in the 33 range.
Okay. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I missed it by a year. But the reality is he's not getting any younger, and he shouldn't be a guy touching the football 300 plus times.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure he should be a guy touching the football 160 plus times.
Yeah.
What?
No. I'm just I'm in my multimedia distraction mode now. God! I'm reading like multiple things at the same time, just trying to see what's worthy and what's.
Would you stay focused?
I'm trying. I really am.
You're
thinking about Matt Castle, aren't you, Keith?
Yeah, no, because you bring up a good point now.
Oh boy,
why make that trade for Matt Castle? I mean, I've gone on the record as saying that it's not time to give up on EJ yet. EJ should not have been started week 1 of his rookie year. He's rushed into this. When we talked to Corbin Bryant from the Buffalo Bills, he talked about EJ's physical skills, his locker room. He talked about him in the locker room a little bit, being a good guy in the locker room for a little bit. Why make a trade for a guy that's never been able to play outside of New England very well and just kind of play with EJ's head even more? I don't know if I would make that trade personally. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I don't know if it's necessarily playing with EJ's head. I think they had success last season with a veteran quarterback, and it's giving EJ something, not only someone to learn from, because Castle, regardless of his abilities, he's played with, in a great system with Belichick and Tom Brady. He's played as a starter in the league for a number of years. He's played the backup role. So you have a guy that probably be comfortable doing either. And he's somebody that can not only help push EJ Manuel to be better, to get that starting job, but then also somebody that could potentially be kind of like a mentor, like they were probably hoping Orton would be before he left.
If I'm the general manager of the Bills, the reason why I'm going to get Matt Castle is because I don't have confidence in EJ Manuel. And the reason why I don't have confidence in EJ Manuel is despite a rookie season where he was very, very, very much a game manager, when we gave him the opportunity to step it up in his sophomore season, he sort of failed the opportunity. I mean, he didn't rise to the occasion, grab it by the horns, and take control of the situation. He was statistically a poorer quarterback than Kyle Orton, who's a revered veteran at this point in his career. And I guess I don't know that Matt Castle was a very great pickup, but I'm not sure who else they were going to go get. If it not him, Mark Sanchez? I guess they looked at Josh McCown. I mean, I guess they could serve as mentors to E.J. Manuel, but I'm kind of over E.J. Manuel at this point. I'm thinking in this draft, I'm taking a quarterback at some point.
Right.
So, and Matt Castle, I'm hoping he has chemistry with LaShawn McCoy, and that the receiving weapons that we have, that he connects with them, because they're likely better than what he had over with the Vikings.
So looking at the big name free agents that are still out there that have yet to sign, DeMarco Murray, apparently the Cowboys are trying to lowball the crap out of him. He's not impressed, according to what I heard on ESPN today. Do you think if he doesn't come back, that the Cowboys offense takes a step back, or do you think that they could put any running back there and run?
I think they definitely take a step back. I mean, not many running backs in this league can carry as much of a load as he carried last season. I think he works really well in that system, and they're going to be able to put another running back in there, but they've proven prior to his success that just popping different running backs in doesn't really help with Romo. I think Romo likes that consistency of having that guy he can rely on to carry it 20, 30 times a game.
What's the question again? I sort of have been sidetracked.
DeMarco Murray, if he leaves, does the Cowboys offense take a step back, or can they plug any running back in that backfield?
The answer is that their offense would take a step back. I don't believe Joseph Randle is the answer. If he was, there would be no hesitation in the Cowboys letting DeMarco Murray walk away and simply naming Joseph Randle the starter to be. That having been said, I see their position. DeMarco Murray's, I forget if he's 27, 28, so this is going to be his last contract, and he's only a couple seasons away from, basically, I don't want to say falling apart, but seeing a substantial statistical drop in production, even if he doesn't want to do it, doesn't want that to happen. Even if he tries to play his best, it's going to happen. It's been proven to happen. It's just a tough thing for them. They're in a tough position because after Murray, Ingram's no longer available. You'd have to then consider Ryan Matthews, Justin Forsett, Shane Vereen, Stephen Ridley, C.J. Spiller, Noshan Moreno, Ahmad Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Those are the next best available running backs if you take Frank Gore off the board, as well as if you take Frank Gore off the board, those are the next best available running backs.
Yeah, and you got teams like Philadelphia still looking for one. I don't think Murray would be a good fit in Philadelphia, but I'm surprised that like a team like the Jaguars aren't making a run at DeMarco.
Oh no, there's a rumor that they are.
Yeah.
Or that
I missed that.
I heard that earlier.
Yeah, so I wouldn't, even though, DeMarco Murray is just in sort of this strange situation. Everybody knows he's not going to be as productive as he was next year. It's just it's not possible. Adrian Peterson had his best seasons in the following year, fell off. But that's okay. The fall off, he was still a good running back.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to fall off. He won't be as good as the season before, can still be great. Can he stay healthy? That's a huge issue because I think he touched the ball close to 400 times last year.
Right.
So you better have a good backup. At least a backup that could fill in for a couple games should he get hurt, just like Murray did last year. He missed 1 or 2 games due to injury.
Yeah.
So he wasn't he wasn't Superman like last season. He was human. He just happened to do some above average things, which was really great for him. So I could see why Dallas doesn't want to overpay. But if you're DeMarco Murray, you're thinking, what did I just do for you? What did I just prove?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Who else out there, out of the names I gave, would you say they could step up and produce exactly what DeMarco Murray did last season? I don't think any of us could look at anyone who's left out there and confidently say, "Oh, so and so can."
No, not at all.
So
there's a lot of interesting names that are going to be available at the wide receiver spot as well. You have Torrey Smith. Well, Macklin supposedly signed with Kansas City.
True.
So he's off the board. But Torrey Smith,
Crabtree,
Shorts. Yep. There was one other one. Dwayne Bowe is supposedly being cut by Kansas City. Correct.
Yep. Well, supposedly.
We'll see what happens.
They could have done that by now, and I wonder sometimes if they're not just trying to restructure with him too. Basically, trying to say, "Oh, look how poor your stats have been the last couple of seasons." And if I'm his agent, I'm saying it's because you don't throw my client the football enough. If you throw the football to Dwayne Bowe, that he makes 70 receptions, statistically he will get you 900 or more yards receiving and roughly 8 TDs. If you throw it under 70, that's when he's just awful.
Mm.
So, you know what? The problem's Alex Smith. It's not Dwayne Bowe.
Poor Alex Smith. The guy cannot get a fair shake.
Well, but why would you say poor? They just signed him to a contract extension.
Not money poor. He's always trying to be shown the door. Like, he finally gets good at San Francisco. Oh, by the way, we got this kid Kaepernick. So then he goes to Kansas City, and he's playing safe, does not take risks. He's the anti-Cutler. And everyone's just trying to say, well, Alex Smith is the problem. That's why I say poor Alex Smith. It's like you have a guy under quarterback that plays a very conservative game. You knew that going into it. He doesn't make mistakes. It never seems to be enough for us as fans with Alex Smith. That's all.
I think it's because he's not that flashy quarterback.
Yeah.
Who?
You're funny when you get pissy.
I'm really not that pissy, actually, right now. I just find this all very entertaining.
The video adds a whole other element to this broadcast, because I can see where Jim pushes away from the computer because he's disgusted and just sits back and rolls his eyes and is just like, Jesus, these guys. Why the hell do I talk to them?
Seriously. So we've covered DeMarco Murray, Alex Smith, and who else so far?
Moving right along. I'm looking at, we got Darrelle Revis we already talked about. Terrence Knighton, the D tackle from Denver, is a wanted man. And there's rumors. I saw the Raiders, I saw the Bears, but I don't think the Bears are going to pay him the money he's going to need or going to want.
They got it, though. FYI, they got it.
And they need a D tackle. If they don't get, they need a run stuffer. The Vince Wilfork, if you will, of this 3-4 defense. So if they don't get somebody like Knighton, then they really got to be looking at that with that number 1 pick. And if that Danny Williams kid is available, I just watched him at the combine. The way he moved for a man that size, it just gets you all giddy.
All giddy.
That's right.
Oh boy. Glad something gets you excited, kid.
What was the name? What was the name of the cat that they drafted based on the video of him jumping out of a swimming pool?
Oh, I can't think of his name. I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Jerron Gilbert, was that it?
Do you know Buster Skrine is still out there? I'm a little surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the duo in that quarterback tandem for the Browns. Just, man.
Tremont Williams is an unrestricted free agent, although he didn't rate all that well last season.
Yeah, Antonio Cromartie too, and I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't rate that well either. He seemed to lose it as the season started.
Well, he's got 26 kids. It's exhausting.
Oh, jeez. Like that has anything to do with football.
It doesn't.
Shame on you.
No.
That was terrible. You owe an apology to Mr. Cromartie.
I got 3. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, the bag's under those eyes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And you can see it in all their glory. You can see it in,
in
all their
got
glory.
a month and a half till I find my glory.
So the 87sportsfans.com official mock draft will be taking place on Monday night, April 27th. I had to look at the number. I had to look at the calendar. At 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Names to be released, but it is a treat that you will not want to miss, folks, let me tell you. We got, I think, no picks correct last year. Although Claire kind of screwed us all up by going with Johnny Manziel, number 1 overall, to the Texans. Threw off the whole draft.
Yeah, that was unexpected.
Threw off the whole draft. But it was a good time. Good time.
You know what's funny is Patriots. Is it Brandon Browner that they've told? I'm going to try and find something on him. I just wanted to share this with you guys because I found it interesting. Because if you read between the lines, there's something going on here. I'll tell you what it is. Let's see. Okay, basically, the Patriots have allowed Brandon Browner, who is under contract right now, to explore his value throughout the league. They haven't said to explore a trade, to do anything like that, and they have an option that they need to decide whether to exercise on him. And I found it entertaining because I don't know what Browners do right now, and I might as well, while I'm chit-chatting, try and find that. But it's sort of an indirect way that they're having Brown do their own legwork by finding out what he's worth. And when, let's say, some team says, oh, we would give you $10 million, the Saints or the Patriots would say, well, your contract option's for 16. We won't pay you 16 because they'll only give you 10. So the best we'll do is give you 10. You following my logic here?
Yeah, a little bit.
What do you mean a little bit? How is it not clear?
Because I was looking at something else.
Oh, jeez. You didn't even listen to him.
Because
this is all I wanted to point out for the listeners out there. When you hear stuff like that, first of all, it's a sign saying, well, we don't necessarily want you on the team. Certainly, we don't want you on the team for the money that we agreed to pay you last year. And then 2, they're actually asking him to do the legwork, which I find just hilarious.
Well,
rather than just letting the market decide what the best price is.
It's almost like Bill Belichick, the mob boss, saying, go see who will take you.
Oh, here it is. He's owed $5.5 million, and basically if they cut him, they'll save the 5.5.
Yeah.
So they're saying we won't pay you 5.5 unless you can justify it by somebody offering you 5.5 or more. I just find that so. I mean, you have to sort of read between the lines on the article or the news because the news doesn't say that. But that is sort of what's going on here. Otherwise, why would they ask him to, hey, check around the league and tell us what your value is?
Only New England. Only New England could get away with that.
Exactly.
The bit of news that popped up that caught me off guard was former Seahawks offensive guard James Carpenter signing with the New York Jets. So the Jets making moves. New head coach Todd Bowles trying to put his stamp on it. Looking at where Carpenter ranked, he was the 27th rated left guard as far as pass blocking, because that's primarily what a left guard is used for. He did not rate well run blocking whatsoever. So, very interesting. I don't know, the Jets offseason. They've always been a topic of an attention getter just because they play in New York. They're the Giants' little sister. But with Bowles bringing what he brings to the table, which, quite frankly, they kind of like traded out old Rex Ryan for the new Rex Ryan because Todd Bowles is the hot defensive assistant. So it'll be very curious to see what they look like going forward. Based on what they did with getting Brandon Marshall, Jim, do you think that the initial, I know it's early, do you think the initial arrow is pointed up for the Jets, or is it still too early to tell?
Oh, I think it's definitely pointing up. I mean, just the Brandon Marshall signing in of itself, I think, indicated that they're moving on from Chris Johnson. That's certainly suggested. They have a boatload of cap space. They re-signed linebacker. Oh, what's his name? Let's see.
David Harris.
Yes, David Harris. That was a crucial re-signing for them. Right thing to do. They keep sort of the core and the leader of that defense right there at home. I think their arrow is definitely pointing up, and then the rest of it will be getting Geno Smith from first to second base to third base in this offense because, it just – I guess I'm having a hard time seeing them making a move in the draft where there's no one else really left in free agency worthwhile. So it looks like you're gonna go with Geno Smith, sink or swim. and he needs to swim. Oh, I take that back. There is one move they could make, and that would be the move to trade with the Eagles to get Nick Foles.
Now, I lost track of the rumors today. Is Brian Hoyer to Houston done, or is that still a rumor?
My understanding is he's talking to the Jets now.
Okay, so I was going to say that's the other way that they could go if he wasn't already snatched up by the Texans.
Again, it's that whole Frank Gore, hey, the signing period isn't officially here. Hey, we can back out of the contract because we don't have to sign yet. It's like, wait a minute. So I could see that happening. And that's too bad for the Texans. I mean, the best world that they could get was the one they were trying to create by re-signing Ryan Mallett and then signing Brian Hoyer. Basically, you have a quarterback competition. You have these two young guns going at it, and may the best man win. Now, they would only have Ryan Mallett.
When I think what they don't need a mallet, they need a hammer.
Wow! Oh my God!
Oh my God! That was.
You knew that was coming. You had to have known that was coming. I mean,
no, I was hoping it wasn't coming.
Yeah, come on. Me and my puns.
Ugh.
Not as good as Jim's closing one-liners during the football season, though.
Yeah, I've got to work on that. I think we need to just dump all that.
Oh, God.
Just like Chris Johnson, we couldn't dodge that bullet.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was surprised that I didn't get any reaction on my tweet yesterday. That I was like, I knew Chris Johnson would be a shot in the arm for somebody. I just didn't know it would be him.
I didn't miss that.
I
didn't miss that.
Every now and then,
for the record, and I can't find this anywhere else, the only place reporting that the Jets are signing offensive guard James Carpenter is I don't even know what this means, the SFI Jets fan club. And this is on Twitter. I'm just checking on Twitter.
Yeah, hold on one second, because I saw it on Twitter, too. I got to find the tweet now.
Unless it was Carpenter himself.
Greg Allman retweeted from John Middlecoff.
Who? I'm sorry, I'm just asking. I don't mean to be...
John Middlecoff, former NFL Scout weekday co-host, Haberman and Wilcoff, 10 to 12 on 95.7 The Game. It's a Raiders station. He's from San Francisco. So,
okay.
Take that for what it is. Everything will change tomorrow, I'm sure.
I'm just kind of looking around and trying to find somebody that's a typical Jets beat writer. Maybe they all went to sleep.
Yeah.
Because it's midnight in New York. I don't know why this guy is breaking at this time.
Real quick.
But yesterday news was breaking. I went to bed and I woke up and there was news posted from the day before that I hadn't seen.
Real quick, because we're out of time. In September, Adrian Peterson will be a Dallas Cowboy. True or false?
False.
True.
Oh, look at Jim. Conjecture. I love it. All right, folks, we are out of time. For Jim Sarantias from thefantasygreek.com and Steve Taylor from 87sportsfans.com, I am Keith Grieve from 87sportsfans.com. You can catch us here every Monday night from 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time at latenightsportsradio.com. Tomorrow, catch a encore airing of Rochester Sports Mumblings. Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, it's the Fantasy Greeks NFL Power Hour. Thursday, Johnny Babo. We'll see you all next week.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.